everyone, my name is Cindy.
I'm Hailey.
I'm Joy.
So today we're going to do a project. It's called Perspective of Hospitality.
We have invited 3 special guests from different areas in this industry to join with us.
So let's get started.
Yeah, I think the main difference is that anyone can provide service, not everyone can provide hospitality service. So normal service is someone being able to check someone in and check somebody out. I guess most people can provide that with training, but it's about being a point of difference, so providing a warm greeting, having a conversation with the guest and finding out why they're here at the hotel, and then building in service into that. So talking to guests, finding out what they want while still doing your service, and that makes the guests feel welcome, and welcome guests feel involved and they want to come back.
So the difference between service and hospitality is service is doing tasks and hospitality is creating a further experience for the customer. So when the two come together, they become, I guess, an unforgettable experience for the customer.
So I think hospitality is also a kind of service, but then in a different way of how you actually serve the person. Service you can just give you a service could be I just give you a coffee and that's service already. But hospitality is much more I give you the coffee, I have a little chat with you, ask you what your day is. I think that's the difference on there. There is more rapport with your customer when you say hospitality. Service is much more of you're just serving it. Yeah. So hospitality would have a personal touch. That's most of them think the differences between service and hospitality is service is serving what customer require, and hospitality is have a little chit chat, little communication, and like the personal touch. Why we serving what they need.
For me, service is about how you treat your customer, and hospitality is the relationship between like the guest and the host. Yeah, that way. How about you?
So I think service, so everyone can provide service, like you can train how to use service. But like hospitality is begin from what you feel when you react with your customer and like feel friendly with them and like it's like good customer experience.
I guess the statement "customer's always right" is correct in a sense, but usually when you're dealing with the guest is not always right, but it's how you deal with, I guess, whatever the problem is, because you always want to turn around a guest experience, a negative guest experience. So if the guest is telling you something that's wrong, it's about turning it back around to a positive state and a positive experience. So yes, the guest may not be right, but you don't want to point out that they're not right. So you want to, I guess, essentially change the subject or move past it. You want to discuss it, move past it, and offer a solution to the problem rather than dwelling on who's right and who's wrong. Yeah.
That's a good question, because I believe customers are always right. However, there should be an understanding between common sense and also being genuine to the customer. So of course, if a customer hasn't paid upfront with a payment, then and you have evidence for it, then I think with respect, the person who's providing the service should give firm ground and should stay firm ground with their right of trying to get the payment. However, if another example is if a customer thinks their steak or their coffee is not hot enough and the chef or the barista has provided their best, I guess, actions to get that coffee or steak to be on the right temperature, then I think the customer should always be right and we should always fix their meals no matter how many times we should do it, because we're providing good hospitality. Yeah.
Customers will always be right with their perspective, yes, because with my experience, they will not complain if they don't feel it's inconvenient on their side. So they will be always right with how they feel. We cannot tell what they should feel, but the only way we could do is to actually understand them and put them on their shoes. And so as a hospitality, working in the hospitality industry, we need to actually understand them. Customer is always right statement could not always be right in some other sense, but you need to actually know what situation. It's very debatable. Let's say the problem is with the food. Let's say the food is not cooked very well, or let's say the food is cold when it is served. So customer will always be right on there. And as a hospitality worker, we need to action it right away. We can serve another food. We need to make sure they're looked after during the whole entire meal. in the sense that I'd say sometimes they're not. It's some other things like in reception, like in the front office side, guests will always say that I've stayed in like million hotels in the world and doesn't want to provide a credit card. In some sense of that one, probably on their side they're right. However, we always, as a hospitality worker, we always need to make sure how we say to the guests politely, saying, I'm sorry, unfortunately, I cannot check you in until you give me a credit card, in a very polite way. It's very challenging, but there's always a way to do it. You can do it in a very nice voice. You can keep saying it's a hotel policy. They can say, oh, I went in this hotel, I'm so sorry, unfortunately we do have our own hotel policy. So you need to make sure you actually weigh the differences as well with other properties that you're with. Not just saying, oh, she's right, okay, I won't take your credit card, I'll give you the card. With that, you're actually you're not protecting your company itself. So it really depends on the situation. They could always be right, they could be sometimes not right. But they're always right of what they feel. And we need to understand that as a hospitality worker. Yeah.
So the second question, what do you guys think about that?
I think customers are always right, but it depends on different situation. For example, if the food is not on the appropriate temperature, so that would be the restaurant fault, and the staff need to fix that mistake. And but they always right on how they feel. So the important point is finding solution to turn into positive experience for customer rather than finding who's right, who's wrong.
Yeah, for me, I agree with that statement too. But like in different situation, the customer might not right, may not wrong. But the point is how we treat them, how we give them the better solution. Like to give them a better experience, so they will think like, okay, like we did good, so like they will have a better experience for them, and like they will might come back even though like we have we have mistake.
Highly important, especially team culture. I guess it's the biggest thing I've learned in my years in the industry. If you have the right culture in the team, then it positively impacts the guest's experience, because everybody's happy on the front desk, and that happiness goes to the guest, and the guest feels that happiness, and it feels like everyone's working together, and they're automatically in a good mood. If a guest walks up and you've got team members who are in a bad mood because maybe they've had an argument with another team member, or we see people arguing between each other, the guest is not going to be happy. Automatically the guest is on the back foot and like, oh geez, I don't want to deal with that. So it's a negative experience. So it's about fostering relationships. Every personality is different, so you're never going to get a group of people who all have the same personality. So it's about finding the happy medium for everybody, where they work together and they want to work together and they want to come to work.
The culture, so in my experience, culture is really, really important. One of my key cultures is definitely creating basically a family and teamwork culture, where everyone understands each other, everyone knows each other's strengths and weaknesses, and that creates a strong team. And I think culture can be defined differently in each industry. In my industry, in hospitality, I think culture would be a form of foundation where we can create values for the company, and everyone would just understand what those company values are, and then we can work as a team collectively to provide the services for the customer.
It's actually very, very good, especially here in Australia. You work with different people. You just don't work with Australians or other culture as well. It's like a big variety, and from there you actually, with my workplace, like I've worked with Grace, we've worked with other people as well. It's fun because you just don't go to work, do your work, and that's it. You actually have this, you build friendship and hospitality with other people, and as you learn them and you get customers that's the same culture with them, you become very more sensitive when you deal with customers. Let's say we had a workmate who was a Japanese, so we know like I've been taught that should not look directly on their eyes, little things like that. You can actually, when you get when you have a chance to also serve a customer that's from Japan, then you would know it. You would know how to try and understand them. It could be, they might be asking that is out of the world, that it's not applicable here in Australia, but then because you've worked in a certain person with the same culture, you would understand where they're coming from, and you can probably find another way from there. If you know where they're coming from, then it's easier to deal with people as well.
So what do you guys think about this question?
So from the most answer, they refer about the team culture. It's like how people work in the team, like the personality they come like fit in the team to bring like the best customer experience.
And personally, I think as a hotel staff, when we know where the customer come from, we will find the appropriate way to deal with them, because each culture have a thing that may make them feel uncomfortable. So we need to know what it is and give and bring them a best feeling when they come to our hotel.
Yeah, and in Melbourne, like people like come from over the world, so like they have different background, different culture. So like it's good to learn what the have the knowledge about each culture, so like we can work together and like how to serve the customer also.
Yeah.
I guess it's a big word in the industry currently, because there's a lot of, especially in Melbourne, there's a lot of new hotels coming up. So what's different at this hotel that's different to the hotel up the road. And this hotel, we're trying to bring in new things which are different. Team members being authentic in their guest dealings is important. Because I guess going back to the first question, anybody can check somebody in, but if your team members are being authentic and actually when they ask the questions, actually taking the information on board, and then surprising the guests later on down the track, then that's an authentic conversation, which is then turned into a positive experience. So I guess on check-in might say they're here for the football, and they might tell us who their football team is. So they might go out to the game, and when they come back, if the team's won, we might have put something in their room to congratulate them on their football team winning, and that's an authentic experience.
Authenticity means it's really simple, just to be genuine, real, and just your true self.
I don't know, but the way I could understand it is much more of a bit of unique style of a hotel. Different. I've worked in only 2 hotels here in Australia, and they've got a different way of dealing with people. And also from the past experience I worked when I was in US, it's also different. So I think it's much more of the standard of a hospitality property. You could be in a 4-star hotel wherein they don't really prioritize on having a rapport with the guests as long as you follow their hotel policy. You can also be in a property who is very customer focused standard, wherein everything that your guests do, you need to make sure you actually know what's going on with them with the entire stay. Could be like that.
In hospitality, it's about bringing customer the feeling that we are truly caring about them, and we want to give them a best quality of service, and want to create the memorable experience when they choosing our hotel to stay and spend time with their family or their friends.
So the authenticity comes into it during those conversations. If someone's asking questions about why they're in Melbourne but don't really care, then it doesn't mean anything, and the guest is wasting their time. It's about using the information to better the guest experience further down the track. You don't have to do something right then when someone gives you information. It's about creating a moment. So I guess it's more likely to remember one moment than the entire stay. So the entire stay might be a negative, might be a normal stay. It takes one moment of being surprised, and that guest will remember that moment, and they will maybe go post it on social media, or they might do a TripAdvisor review. It's just that one moment where a team members had an authentic conversation with them and done something with it.
Impacts a lot. If you guys ever been served at a hotel, anywhere where we've been served before, you can really generally see if the person serving you really wants to take care of you, or if they're just doing it as a transaction. So there's a difference between being engaged with the customer and just doing it as a fast transaction. So for example, if I come to the counter, if I say I booked a room for your hotel and they just want my ID and my credit card, that's a transaction, that's just providing a service. But being authentic is really understanding the customer and understanding if that customer is actually tired, if they need if they need more services, if they're emotionally engaged. You have to really understand the customer's personality, and you really want to create that really good experience with them. So for example, if you treat them like family, like you don't treat your family like a quick transaction, you actually ask and spend the time to see how they are, and then you execute your service. So I think great customer service and being authentic does impact customers a lot. And if done well, you get a lot of good customer retention. They'll come back because of yourself.
Well, if coming back to from what I said, if it's the uniqueness of the service itself, it could be all different. You would actually, if you go to TripAdvisor, you'll read one property to another, and you'll see the differences on there. It's really coming from the person or the people working in that hotel. It's the human resource. So if the company itself actually implies to their staff the importance of what kind of service, it could be a very friendly one. It could be just I work in a hotel that you just have to speak a very business English way, that you can say this is your coffee, you just have this is an exquisite coffee coming from Colombia. That's how it could be that way. Other person like, oh, this is your coffee flat white. That's it. So I think that's the differences on there. It's much more of the importance on there is it becomes the way the human resources, the staff present themselves, will actually determine what does the property actually is. So it will determine like is it the property good, is the property bad, and it will all be coming from us as hospitality workers as well, and it will determine the identity or the service or the product that that property is serving. So I think it's very important that as a hospitality worker we need to make sure that we have this standard to ourselves itself, which is actually we always say in our paper a quality service. It could be a quality service, it could be a friendly service. So whatever you wanted to show yourself into, and it will actually show what your company is as well at the end of the day.
So for me, authenticity is mean like something unique, like something make the economy different with other. Because now that they have many like property especially in Melbourne. So for example, with like for the business, they want to go the hotel quite like look like politely, but like for the holiday or like relaxed purpose, like they have a different hotel make you feel comfortable. So I think the authenticity means like make something unique based on the purpose of the customer go to travel.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like for me, authenticity is mean unique, special. So like it might come from like how the hotel decoration, or like how you serve your customer, like customer service, or like can be like from like how customer experience in your hotel. So like
So even the way staff communicate with the guests.
Yeah, or even like the food or like the room, or the environment, like when they stay in your hotel. Yeah, that could be like bring the authentic, like so make the customer like remember your hotel, so like they might come back later, or like recommend for their friends or like their relative, that kind of thing.